All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome if you're new. Thank you for taking time out of your day to check the video out. We have more PlayStation news, rumors, and leaks to go over and cover here today. We are starting with Sony announcing a new special edition Dualsense, as well as a couple of other merch items. They have the Icon Blue Special Edition Dualsense, and it's just completely blue, as you can see. And this is going to go on sale starting October 20th in the US and Canada, and then October 28th in Mexico. It's going to be $85 US, and it's going to be, I believe, a Walmart exclusive. It does say here that you'll find it at Walmart locations as well as the official Walmart website. So yeah, I don't know how many people are going to be interested in this particular DualSense, but I have seen some people expressing excitement over the color scheme. They do like the all blue and the very bright blue color scheme that they decided to go with here. But they also announced a Astrobot lunchbox, which is interesting. It seems that Sony's getting prepared to do more merch for Astrobot overall, stuff that's maybe geared towards kids, but they actually also announced Twisted Metal Melts figures. They announced a PlayStation jersey, and they also announced a monogram backpack clip, or at least a whole set of backpack clips, and it has a lot of, you know, classic PlayStation characters as well as newer PlayStation characters, and finally a Last of Us Ellie mini backpack. So this is what they put out on the PlayStation blog, but I think, yeah, the biggest one here is the DualSense. There are people who, you know, try to collect every DualSense, and so here's a new color you can kind of add to your collection, I suppose. But I do want to let you guys know that with this, it's also been announced that the PlayStation Gear merch store is going to be closing down. So this is being reported by Push Square. They say PlayStation's official merchandise store, PlayStation Gear, will shut down on December 31st, 2025 in the UK, Europe, and USA. So they say here, thanks for visiting PlayStation Gear Store. This site will be closing December 31st. Our customer service team will still be here and happy to help regarding your order. All sales are final. While it doesn't seem to be linked to the eventual shutdown, there is a sale currently live on the PlayStation Gear Store that offers quite considerable savings on certain merch that they're offering. So I want to let you guys know about this because I kind of honestly forgot that this merch store existed. And so it is going to be shutting down. And, you know, I don't know if they're going to be doing more sales leading up to the shutdown, but you might just want to keep an eye on that if you're interested. We're moving to the next topic, though, which talks once again about Ghost of Yotei. This is coming from Push Square. They say if you've been playing Ghost of Yotei over the last few days, then you'll have probably noticed just how open its open world actually feels. Player freedom was pushed as a major selling point leading up to the PS5 exclusive's launch, and we dare say that the game delivers on its promise. Its open world design does a great job of teasing you towards new events and locations in a way that feels natural. We think Yotei's overall structure is more than worthy of discussion, especially when you consider how uninspired open-world titles can be these days, and so hearing about Sucker Punch's approach is pretty interesting. Speaking to Games Radar, creative director Jason Connell basically says that letting players tackle Atsu's adventure at their own pace was always key. If players don't want to do something in-game, we're just like, okay, that's your choice, he says. As long as you're having fun, we don't care too much. Now, obviously, with the sheer amount of time and effort that's poured into a first-party release on the scale of Yotei, you'd think that the developers would be a little concerned over players missing out on carefully crafted content, but again, player freedom was always the goal. Quote, our philosophical sort of thing about the game was to let you have more freedom than any game we've ever had, end quote. So yeah, I just wanted to take a moment to acknowledge this because I'm about like 10 to 12 hours, give or take, into Yotei so far, and I have to say that I completely agree with this. The open world and the way it's structured, and specifically the flow of it and how you encounter things, it is very natural, it is very organic, and nothing feels forced, and nothing feels like you're just kind of checking off boxes, right? This is what Sucker Punch set out to do, and I think that they did a very good job. In fact, it's been actually a little bit difficult for me to make progress in the actual story because I keep kind of getting distracted by all these things that pop up again, just kind of out of nowhere. And I'm like, oh, what's going on here? So let me know if you how you're feeling in general about the open world of Yotei. Moving on from that, though, we're talking about Marathon. This is coming from PlayStation Lifestyle. They say a PS5 first-party shooter has made a surprise appearance following reports that it was headed for potential cancellation. Not only has Bungie's Marathon returned, but it will also be playable later this month via a closed technical test that players can sign up for. Marathon's closed technical test will run from October 22nd to October 28th. Apparently, Bungie was quiet about the game because it was busy running, quote, several closed playtests to gather feedback, end quote, since the delay announcement in June. Those interested in playing Marathon ahead of its release must complete a form on Bungie's website and submit their application. Players who previously applied for the public alpha held in April do not need to reapply, as their form will be automatically submitted. That is an important checkpoint for us as we test our improvements since the alpha, including 3 maps, 5 runner shells, prox chat, retuned combat pacing, solo queue, deeper environmental storytelling, and more, Bungie wrote. That said, the technical test build is a work in progress and will only include a portion of what's planned for Marathon's full release, focused on the early player experience. So yeah, this is just the latest update for Marathon. We also have a leak here, apparently, coming from the game post, and it's giving us some specific details, specifically how the base game is going to be $40 US. They're going to offer a deluxe edition for $60 US. There will be a season pass, which will be cosmetic only, that will be $10 US. And at launch, there's going to be 28 weapons in total. So this is what the game post is leaking about Marathon. And so, yeah, I really still kind of feel like this game, I understand that Bungie is doing everything they can to try to make it work, but I just am not seeing any excitement for it, man. I don't know if they're going to make it work no matter what they try. But, I'll keep you guys updated. Let me know if you're going to be signing up for this alpha. Moving on from that, we have a PlayStation Plus title leak. This is a significant one, in my opinion. Being reported by WCCF Tech, it says the Silent Hill 2 remake is coming soon to PlayStation Plus Extra, according to renowned leaker Bill Bilkun. In a post published on dialabs.com, the leaker said the game should join Sony's middle PS Plus tier on October 21st. Bill Bilkun is a well-informed individual on these announcements. Just recently, the leaker had revealed in advance that Remedy's Alan Wake 2 would be added to the PlayStation Plus Essential lineup, which ended up getting confirmed during the recent State of Play. So this is a very significant title, I would say, going into PlayStation Plus Extra. Silent Hill 2 Remake was my personal game of the year last year, and so if you are somebody who is subscribed to PS Plus Extra, I highly recommend checking it out if you haven't played it already. And it's worth noting that I think Konami is getting ready to announce the Xbox and possibly even Switch 2 version of Silent Hill 2 Remake, because the timed exclusivity deal that Sony had with Konami, I think, is ending. I think it may have even ended today, or it's going to be ending very soon. So don't be surprised if you see this announced, in the coming days. But moving on from that, we are talking once again about Battlefield and how apparently Battlefield 6, if you get the game physically, the entire game is on the disc and there's no need for any type of downloading. This is being reported by Tweaktown, and they have like a too long didn't read version where they say Battlefield 6 physical retail copies for PS5 include the full game on disc, eliminating the need for additional downloads. With multiplayer servers live, players can access the game immediately, optimized for various hardware. Battlefield 6 has 1.7 million pre-orders and launches on October 10th. So yeah, this is just something that I wanted to throw out here because we've been seeing how, certain games don't put the entire game on the disc if you buy it physically. Call of Duty is infamous for this, where they don't put anything on the disc. Battlefield has done the exact opposite. But when it comes to talking about Battlefield, I have another report here from Push Square where they say prior to Xbox's acquisition of Activision, Sony would invest ungodly sums of money into Call of Duty's marketing. This year, it's decided to put that money behind rival Battlefield 6 instead, and the marketing is beginning to appear all around the world. For example, this billboard spotted in Hollywood shows the key art from the upcoming FPS alongside PlayStation 5 branding. London buses are also beginning to roll out in the UK, again featuring PlayStation's logo and slogan. It's not the first time Sony's marketed a Battlefield game, but this alliance makes particular sense with Call of Duty now being under Xbox's umbrella. And so, yeah, I just wanted to kind of throw this out here because I don't know if you guys have noticed, but PlayStation seemingly is very much getting behind Battlefield 6, and I'm starting to see the marketing roll out in a pretty significant way. And yeah, it's just interesting to me that Sony went from Call of Duty to now Battlefield. But continuing to talk about physical PS5 games and the entire game being on the disc, there was an original report here from Push Square where it says here, Oblivion Remastered's physical PS5 release will include the, quote, base game on disc, but they have an update where they say it's been a little under a week since word got out about the Elder Scrolls Oblivion Remastered's physical version requiring an internet connection, and we still don't know exactly whether the full game will be playable offline or not. Here's what the publisher is saying on social media, quote, the physical deluxe edition includes the base game in the disc format for Xbox or PlayStation, along with a code that grants access to the digital story content and digital deluxe content, end quote. So we take this to mean that the full game is on the disc while its digital edition content is not. So, you know, what people are getting a little bit hung up on here is what they say about digital story content. Like, does that include DLC expansions, or is that just considered part of the base game now? You know, players are hoping that Bethesda will clarify, but there you go. It seems like at least the majority of the experience will be on the disc, but it does say on the game case that internet is required. So yeah, there you go. We're going to move on to the final topic though, which is a surprise update for Control. And I think it's getting a pretty significant boost on the PS5 Pro. This is coming from Gaming Bolt. They say, as promised by Remedy Entertainment, Control Ultimate Edition on PS5 and Xbox Series has been updated with the same patch released for PC players earlier this year. It includes 3 outfits previously available as pre-order exclusives. All this seemed a given, but there are also some new graphics and performance settings to play with. Support for a variable refresh rate and 120Hz displays has been added for PS5, PS5 Pro, and Xbox Series X and S. The frame rate limits on quality and performance modes have also been removed for all consoles except for the Series S. But if that wasn't enough, you can now enable HDR to take advantage of PSSR, improved screen space reflections, updated texture filtering, and more on the PS5 Pro specifically. Remedy warns that PSSR can slightly affect performance, but there's an option to switch it off if so desired. So yeah, I have to say, a PS5 Pro upgrade for Control was not something I was expecting to see, but definitely worth pointing out here. You know, it's nice to see Remedy going back even for a game that came out in 2019 and, you know, giving these updates and supporting it in this way. So let me know if Control is a game you have any intention of going back and playing on the PS5 Pro. But guys, that's going to do it for the video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found it informative. If you did, be sure to leave it a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new, hit the bell notification icon, and feel free to share this video out on top of all that. But until next time, guys, take care.